Alright, welcome back everybody. We're going to do a pod review today on this pepper over here, and this is called the Shishito Pepper. And these peppers are often picked green and sold green. You can actually buy these in supermarkets these days. So I'm growing this out from an heirloom seed that I purchased many years ago. These are not supermarket bought seeds. In fact, I don't think you can grow those from the supermarket vegetables because they're generally picked and sold green, and those seeds aren't mature yet. So it's highly unlikely you'll get any of those to sprout. So you'll have to buy seeds for this. But this is called the Shishito, and we're gonna pick this one right here. I think it's red enough for review. Well, it's almost red. A little bit of a bug bite on the bottom. We'll have to toss that part, but we could still do a review on the Shishito. All right, give you a better look at that. Look at that. That's a gorgeous little pepper. It's not fully ripe, so it's probably going to be a little tangy. Again, I don't like picking my peppers in this stage, but we got to get some of these reviews done. I'm getting ready to bring all these plants in because it's getting close to that time, another week or two, and we'll probably get into our first frost, or it'll just simply be too cold, even in the greenhouse. And I need to get these plants in and under lights so they can start growing again. So let's turn you around. Let's give that bad boy a go. All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to do a pod review today. It's going to be on this pepper right here, and this is called the Shishito Pepper. And this is often used in Asian cuisine, and so not sure what the name Shishito means, but I would imagine it's means something. So this is it. This is in a semi-ripe state. Generally, with these peppers, you want to eat them green. It's that kind of a pepper, and or if you do let them ripen, you let them turn all the way red. It's usually not a good idea to pick them in this stage. So here it is. That's what it looks like. Kind of weird colors and shapes on it. Probably has a lot to do with the cold air coming in so early in the season. That probably has a lot to do with it getting like weird striping and patching on it. I'm not sure. Let's give that a go. Let's get into the flavor of this. It's generally not really hot, but I have eaten these. You will get one or two of these here and there on that plant, and they will be very, very hot. They'll be well over 10,000 Scoville units. They'll be very, very hot. You won't expect it. You're eating like this one's almost sweet. It's basically sweet, but there's a little bit of heat on it. But it was getting to the flavor. Now, again, we're not eating this in a green stage, so we're giving you a pod review for this pepper during its ripening process. And so generally peppers, when they turn red, they're going to develop a sweetness to them, and most of that's because their starches convert over to sugars before eventually converting over to other things that break the pepper down, basically. But those starches to sugars are the first step. So in general, it was in its ripe form. It's generally a sweet pepper, and it has a very nice, slightly fruity, appley type flavor to it. And when I say fruity, I don't mean habanero fruity, but like fruity, like a slight type of appley type fruity taste. It's a very mild flavor. There was a little bit of sweetness on this. It was like a fructose type of sweetness, like you would get from eating, an apple or a peach or something. Not as sweet as peach, but like a good apple, before it's fully ripe. So it did have some sweetness on it, and what do they taste like? Well, it really depends, really. I mean, if you're eating them in their green stage, they have a different taste than like other green peppers. And if you're eating them when they're ripe, they're going to generally start to taste sweet, like very similar to a lot of other peppers that get sweet when they turn ripe. This is no different. In their green stage, though, they got an interesting flavor. They're very similar to pepperoncini type flavor. In the green stage, and they also got an interesting crispy texture to them when they're eating green like that, and they're very soft and delicate, and so they're easy on the palate. Again, they may or may not have heat on them. It varies quite a bit with this pepper. This particular one had very, very low heat. This one was probably, if I was to say there was a Scoville on this one, I'd say probably around 100 Scovilles, if that. It was just a very warm, slight tingle on the tip of the tongue, a little bit maybe on the lips, very slightly around the front inside part of the lips, and that was really it. It was a very low tingle. But again, I have eaten these where the Scovilles on them were like absolutely cooking beyond your imagination, and so it was very, very, very hot. But the flavor of these peppers in their green stage is really what people grow them for. They don't really, it's like pepperoncinis. When people grow pepperoncinis, they don't grow them to get them ripe and eat them. You can, but that's not the purpose of that pepper. Those peppers, the pepperoncinis, for example, they're mainly grown for pickling and that type of thing. That's what they're really grown for. These particular peppers are used in Asian cooking and Asian dishes, and there's a number of dishes that they actually use these peppers in. I'm not totally sure if they wait until they fully ripen, but usually they're used in the green stage for those dishes. It's very specific. It's a very specific type of flavor that's applied to Asian dishes. But you can experiment with them and try them really any way you want. Like I said, if you've ever eaten a pepperoncini green, this is kind of what it tastes like. What kind of major category of flavor would it kind of fall into? I guess green bell pepper type flavors, very slightly like goes into that flavor, though they have their own undertones and overtones to them. Makes them kind of different. But if you were to put it into something like in the green stage, yeah, it'd be like the green bell pepper type flavor. When they're ripe, it's kind of like the pepperoncini when they're ripe. They have a sweet flavor to them, and they're very delectable, but they don't quite taste like green bell pepper, should I say, when they're fully ripe. They got a very different and unique type of flavor to them. This is no different. This is very similar to that effect as far as the flavor goes. But they're a good pepper. They're very productive plants. I mean, you can grow 2 or 3 of these plants by themselves in your yard, and you'll get probably hundreds of peppers. I mean, they can really, really produce. They generally don't really start popping fruits out really until maybe first week of August. If you're lucky, if you start them early, you might get them like mid-July. You'll start getting fruits starting to form. They flower, but those flowers can take a while, and then they form the fruits. And if you're going to wait for them to ripen, you got to figure another month and a half, 2 months for that process. So if you're just looking to get them green, you could pick them like you pick green beans. You literally can. As soon as they start getting to the size that you want, get all of them off of the plant, and it'll throw out a ton of more flowers, and they'll start producing a whole bunch of more pods for you, and you'll get you'll get more production that way. I grow for seed mostly, and because of that reason, I have to wait until they're fully ripe, so I don't get that many pods off it, because I got to sacrifice 70-80% of what I grow. But it's a good pepper, guys. If you don't know that much about the Shishito, you can look it up online. I'll leave whatever information I get on the Shishito. I'll put that down in the description below. You can read about it there. I'll also leave a link in the description below. It'll bring you over to the website, and you can purchase the seeds if you want to give this one a grow. All right, so hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.